For centuries, gold dominated the world's idea of value. But what if we told you that there were coins in history, some forgotten, some never meant to exist, that once carried more value than gold itself? One of these coins was technically illegal to own until 2002, and when it finally hit the auction block, it sold for nearly $19 million. Before we dive into these mysterious coins and million-dollar mistakes, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. If you love hidden histories, rare collectibles, and stories that rewrite what we thought we knew, you're in the right place. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, or maybe your old coin jar, because you just might have a piece of history sitting in your drawer. Let's dive in. Number 10 slot. In the untamed frontiers of the American West, gold wasn't just a symbol of wealth, it was survival. But by the late 1840s in the isolated Oregon Territory, a problem emerged. There were no official U.S. coins in circulation. The federal mint had yet to stretch its reach into the Pacific Northwest, and settlers, many of them farmers and traders, found themselves rich in gold dust, but lacking a standardized way to use it. So, they improvised. Enter the beaver coin, a privately minted piece of currency born out of necessity, not policy. Created by the Oregon Exchange Company in 1849, these coins were struck using local gold. Much of it panned during the feverish days of the California gold rush. What made the beaver coin so remarkable? For starters, it contained more gold than any official U.S. $5 coin of the era. It was heavier, purer, and widely accepted in local commerce. Each coin featured the image of a beaver on one side, an emblem of the Pacific Northwest's fur trade legacy, and stamped with the words Oregon Exchange Company and 1849. But the beaver coin had one fatal flaw. It wasn't legal tender. As the federal government established official mints and began issuing its own coinage in the region, the beaver coin quickly disappeared from circulation. Many were melted down for their raw gold content. Others simply lost to time. Today, surviving examples are extraordinarily rare, and collectors are willing to pay a fortune for them. One specimen, in pristine condition, fetched over $100,000 at auction. A coin born out of frontier survival, now treasured as a historical gem. Number 9. Let's cross the world to 19th century Russia and discover a coin made not of gold, but something even rarer at the time, platinum. In the early 1800s, deep within the Ural Mountains, Russian miners struck something unexpected, a mysterious white metal, heavy, durable, and extremely difficult to melt. That metal was platinum. At the time, it was considered even more valuable than gold, and its rarity made it perfect for high-value coinage. Tsar Nicholas I saw an opportunity, and in 1828 he made a bold decision. Russia would become the first country in the world to mint circulating coins out of platinum. The result? A series of coins in denominations of 3, 6, and 12 rubles, with the 12-ruble coin being the most prestigious. These coins weren't just a novelty, they were a statement, a sign that Russia had the resources and the power to shape global standards of wealth. But platinum was notoriously hard to work with. It had a high melting point, was difficult to refine, and its unfamiliar look made merchants skeptical. Many people didn't trust it. To them, it looked like dull silver and lacked the visual glamour of gold. By 1845, the Russian government discontinued the series, melting most of the coins back into bullion. Today, only a small number have survived, mostly in museums or elite private collections. A 12-ruble platinum coin, when it does come to auction, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. It's a fascinating twist in monetary history, where practicality clashed with prestige, and where a coin made of platinum proved too advanced for its time. At number 8, we shift from imperial experiments to a small silver coin that packs a massive punch in the collector world. It's one of the most sought-after quarters in U.S. history, and it could still be hiding in someone's pocket change. This is the legendary 1901 S. Barber quarter. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything, and when it comes to U.S. quarters, few are as elusive or as valuable as this one. Minted in San Francisco in 1901, only 72,664 Barber quarters were struck that year. That might sound like a lot, but in coin production terms, it's incredibly low. Most US quarters were minted in the millions, and most of those 1901 coins, they were spent, circulated, worn down through decades of everyday use. Very few survived in pristine condition, and those that did are now worth a fortune. The coin itself doesn't look flashy. Designed by Charles E. Barber, the obverse features Lady Liberty in a classical profile, wearing a Phrygian cap and laurel wreath, while the reverse displays the iconic American eagle, modest, yes, but beneath that modest design lies a heavy weight of American numismatic history. So, how valuable can a quarter really be? In 1990, a high-grade example sold for $550,000, and since then, prices have only climbed. Even well-worn versions can fetch thousands. Collectors refer to it as a modern rarity, a coin that shouldn't be as rare as it is. But thanks to low mintage and poor preservation, it became the stuff of legends. And here's the kicker. Every so often, a 1901 Barber quarter turns up unexpectedly, in an old drawer, a forgotten box, even a kid's coin collection. For those lucky enough to find one, that 25-cent piece could be worth more than a luxury car. From loose change to $500,000, the 1901 Barber quarter proves that sometimes small coins make the biggest impact. At number 7, we journey back nearly 700 years to medieval England, a time of kings, crusades, and coinage experiments that didn't always go as planned. In the year 1343, a bold attempt to introduce a new gold standard resulted in one of the rarest coins in European history. This is the story of the Edward III florin, better known as the double leopard. In the 14th century, England was ready to join the rest of Europe in circulating gold coins. King Edward III, a ruler known for his military campaigns and grand ambitions, authorized the minting of a brand new gold currency. The goal? To make England competitive in international trade and elevate the status of English money on the world stage. The result was the florin of 1343. Struck in solid gold, it featured a stunning design. On one side, King Edward III seated on his throne, flanked by two majestic leopards, a bold and regal symbol of English might. On the reverse, the royal cross and more heraldic leopards, hence the nickname Double Leopard. But there was a problem. The coin didn't match the weight standards used elsewhere in Europe. It was too heavy, too valuable, and ultimately impractical. Merchants refused it, and within months, the coin was withdrawn from circulation. Most of the florins were melted down, lost to time, forgotten. Today, only 3 known specimens exist. 2 are housed in museums. The third, it surfaced in 2006, found by a metal detectorist in a muddy field in England. That single coin later sold at auction for £460,000, or over $800,000 at the time. Not bad for something the size of a $50. The 1343 florin is a relic of a royal gamble, an elegant gold miscalculation, and one of the oldest and rarest coins ever to command a value far beyond its weight in metal. At number 6, we return to the early 20th century United States, where currency wasn't just about function, it was about art. One president's obsession with beauty and one sculptor's masterpiece came together to create a gold coin so intricate it nearly broke the US Mint. This is the legendary 1907 high-relief St. Gaudens double eagle. When President Theodore Roosevelt came into office, he wasn't impressed with America's coinage. He called it artistically of atrocious hideousness. Bold words from a bold man. So he reached out to someone who could fix that, Augustus St. Gaudens, one of the most renowned sculptors of his time. He wanted coins that looked like ancient Greek art, majestic, timeless, inspiring, and St. Gaudens delivered. What he designed was more than a coin. It was a miniature sculpture, a $20 gold piece featuring Lady Liberty striding forward, torch in one hand, olive branch in the other, with the rays of the rising sun behind her. It was powerful, patriotic, perfect. There was just one problem. The design was so detailed, so high in relief, that it was incredibly difficult to strike. Each coin required multiple blows from the minting press. It was inefficient, time-consuming, and simply not practical for mass production. Eventually, the mint had to flatten the design, but before they did, a limited number of high-relief versions were struck in 1907, and collectors took notice. Today, those original high-relief coins are considered one of the most beautiful and coveted coins in American history. One specimen sold for over $3 million. It's a coin where art triumphed over economy, if only briefly. A fleeting masterpiece that survives in the hands of only the luckiest or wealthiest collectors. At number 5. This isn't just a coin, it's a legend. A piece of gold that never should have existed outside a vault. A currency pulled from the brink of circulation. And a symbol of economic crisis, presidential power, and underground collectors. This is the mythic, the forbidden, the 1933 double eagle. By 1933, the United States was in the depths of the Great Depression. The economy was collapsing, banks were failing, and confidence in paper currency was all but gone. To stabilize the financial system, President Franklin D. Roosevelt took a drastic step. He signed an executive order banning the hoarding of gold, effectively pulling gold coins out of everyday use. That same year, the U.S. Mint struck a batch of $20 double eagles, made of solid gold, bearing the stunning St. Gaudens design. But just as they were ready for release, the order came down. Destroy them, melt them all, and nearly all of them were, except a few slipped through the cracks. No one knows exactly how. Perhaps a quiet swap by a mint employee, perhaps an inside job, but 20 of the coins are believed to have escaped destruction. And from there, the legend began. For decades, owning a 1933 double eagle was illegal. The US government tracked them down one by one. Some were confiscated, some quietly disappeared. In 2002, after a lengthy legal battle, one single coin was allowed to be privately owned. And in 2021, that coin was sold at Sotheby's for an astonishing $18.9 million, making it the most expensive coin ever sold at auction. A $20 piece, that never legally circulated, now worth more than its weight in gold many thousands of times over. The 1933 double eagle is more than a coin. It's a controversial artifact, a secret survivor, and a golden ghost of a troubled time. At number 4, it's the tiniest coin on our list, worth just 1 cent on paper, but in reality, a priceless piece of wartime history. A minting mistake during America's most desperate hour that turned an everyday penny into a collector's dream. This is the story of the 1943 copper Lincoln cent. During World War II, every resource mattered, especially metal. The US military needed copper for ammunition, wiring, and equipment. So the US Mint made a crucial change. Pennies would no longer be made from copper. In 1943, all Lincoln cents were struck in zinc-coated steel, giving them a silver-colored appearance. Over 1 billion of these steel cents were made that year. They worked, but they rusted easily, and they were often mistaken for dimes. But then, something unexpected happened. A handful, just a few dozen as far as we know, were struck using the wrong planchets. Instead of steel blanks, a few leftover copper ones from 1942 were accidentally fed into the presses. The result? A 1943 Lincoln cent, made of copper. And suddenly, this accidental survivor became one of the most famous error coins in US history. These coins weren't discovered immediately. In fact, it wasn't until years later that the first copper 1943 cent turned up, causing a stir in the collecting world. The government even investigated to confirm they weren't fakes. But they were real, and today, they are extremely valuable. In 2019, one example sold for $204,000 at auction. Others have sold for similar, and sometimes higher amounts depending on condition. To this day, people still check their change, hoping to find that mythical copper penny from 1943, a mistake worth more than 200,000 times its face value. So next time you see an old penny, take a closer look. It might just be the most valuable mistake you'll ever hold. At number 3, we return once again to a familiar face, the St. Gaudens double eagle. But this version, it's not just rare, it's ultra rare. a breathtaking experiment in coin design that pushed the boundaries of minting technology and patience. This is the 1907 Ultra High Relief Double Eagle. If the regular high relief St. Gaudens coin was difficult to produce, this one was nearly impossible. At the personal request of President Theodore Roosevelt, Augustus St. Gaudens crafted a version of the $20 gold coin that was even more detailed, even more sculptural. With relief so high, it gave the coin a three-dimensional, almost lifelike presence. But beauty came at a cost. Each coin had to be struck multiple times, up to 9 separate blows, just to bring out the full depth of the design. That meant slower production, more wear on the equipment, and a massive headache for the US Mint. Ultimately, the ultra-high relief version was abandoned in favor of more practical lower relief strikes. But before the Mint gave up, fewer than 24 of these coins were completed. Today, these rare survivors are numismatic masterpieces, not just for their scarcity, but for what they represent. A moment in history when coinage was elevated to fine art. The obverse still features the striking image of Lady Liberty advancing forward, torch in one hand, olive branch in the other, with the sun's rays exploding behind her. The reverse shows a soaring eagle in full flight, a symbol of freedom and national strength. Collectors revere this coin as one of the most beautiful ever struck by any country in any era. And the value? In 2012, one specimen sold for $2.8 million, and others have approached similar figures since. It's a shining example of what happens when artistic vision overrides practical concerns, a coin too perfect for mass production, but unforgettable in every other way. At number 2, we step into the world of modern minting, where high-speed machines and digital precision are supposed to eliminate human error. But every so often, a mistake slips through. And when it does, it can turn a common coin into a collector's prize. This is the story of the 1933 bronze 10-pence error, a British oddity that wasn't supposed to exist. Let's set the scene. It's not the 1300s or the 1800s. It's modern-day Britain. The Royal Mint, known for its impeccable standards, is producing coins by the millions. But even with state-of-the-art machinery, something went wrong. A 10-pence coin, normally struck in cupronickel, was mistakenly struck on a bronze blank meant for a 1-penny coin. That single error gave the coin a completely different look and a completely different value. Instead of the standard silver color of a 10-pence, this one looked coppery, like a penny. But it still had all the markings of a 10-pence. Same design, same size, same inscriptions. It was a mule error, a mismatch of the blank and the die, and only one example has been confirmed to exist. Found in ordinary circulation, the bronze 10-pence caused a stir among collectors when it surfaced. Experts verified it, newspapers covered it, and when it finally went to auction, this little mistake of a coin sold for £380, nearly 4,000 times its face value. Not a fortune, but a powerful reminder. Even in today's modern age, where everything is supposed to be uniform and controlled, a simple error can create a one-of-a-kind treasure. It's a story of how the rarest finds often come from the most unexpected places, and why checking your change might just be worth it after all. And finally, at number 1, we land on a coin so modern, so small, and so seemingly ordinary that millions of people carried one without even noticing what was missing. A production mistake from 2008 turned an everyday 20-pence coin into a national curiosity and one of the most unusual British errors in modern history. This is the strange case of the undated 20-pence mule. To understand how this happened, we need to rewind to 2008, the year the Royal Mint redesigned British coinage. New designs were rolled out, fresh combinations of obverse and reverse dies were prepared, and millions of 20-pence coins were struck. But somewhere along the production line, something went wrong. A mismatched set of dies was used, one from the old design, which included the date on the reverse, and one from the new design, which had the date on the obverse. The result? A coin with no date at all. That may sound minor, but in the world of coinage, every legal tender coin must have a date. Roughly 250,000 undated 20-pence coins are believed to have entered circulation, the first time in over 300 years that a British coin was issued without a date. It didn't take long for collectors, and the media, to take notice. The Royal Mint eventually acknowledged the error, and from there, the undated 20 pence became a pop culture phenomenon. People started checking their change, scouring their pockets, and listing the coins online, sometimes for hundreds of pounds. While they're not as rare as the other coins on this list, the 2008 mule holds a special place in modern collecting because it was never supposed to happen, a product of a brief window of confusion, and a reminder that even in the most controlled environments, human error can still create hidden treasure. Some have sold for 100 pounds or more, over 300 times their face value. A mistake, a mystery, a mule, and the perfect way to close our list of forgotten coins once worth more than gold. So whether struck in gold, platinum, or by pure accident, these coins prove one thing. Value isn't always in the metal. Sometimes it's in the story. Want more forgotten treasures and rare finds? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next countdown, where history hides in plain sight.